Salesforce DevOps Center is one of the most exciting trends to hit the ecosystem in recent memory. And with the release of the Salesforce DevOps Center, it's time for all professionals to learn the ins and outs of these latest tools. Hi, I'm Ben McCarthy, founder of SalesforceBen.com, and our mission is to help you advance your Salesforce career. Subscribe to our YouTube channel below and check out our extensive resources on SalesforceBen.com. Welcome to video 3 in our DevOps Center series in collaboration with Prodly. In our first 2 videos, we discussed what Salesforce DevOps Center is and why it's so important to use. And in video 2, we showed you how to set up Salesforce DevOps Center. If you haven't seen these videos yet, make sure to check them out first. In our 3rd video, we'll discuss the value of deploying changes using DevOps Center instead of change sets. After that, we'll show you step-by-step instructions on how to deploy changes with DevOps Center. So why should you be using DevOps Center to deploy changes? To answer this question, we first have to understand DevOps deployment philosophy. As we explained in our previous videos, DevOps is a philosophy and set of best practices that merge development and IT operations to build, evolve, and operate rapidly changing systems. You implement small changes with more frequency, so you can be agile, and when needed, pivot and adjust what you're working on to the needs of the product and demands of the market. To effectively implement DevOps, you need communication, automation, and iteration. So when it comes to deployment, IT and admins need to be talking to each other. You need to be using automation to make processes more efficient, and you need to complete bite-sized pieces of work in short sprints before pushing to production. DevOps Center lets you do all this. It promotes processes and provides tools that make it easier to collaboratively build, test, and deploy custom solutions across Salesforce faster than ever before. You can reduce IT costs by 25%. If you build on the Salesforce platform, you can deploy solutions 30% faster and increase developer productivity by 28%. Unfortunately, you can't do that with change sets. They're inefficient, prone to error, and take forever to configure. To show us how to deploy changes using DevOps Center, here's Jereriah Manning, Director of Solution Engineering at Prodly.
Before we dive into DevOps Center functionality, let's review some common change set best practices and usage. Inside of my production environment, I can navigate to Setup, search for environments in the Quick Find bar, and before I even begin, I have to actually allow my sandboxes to be used as the starting place for my changes, or what's known as an outbound change set environment. In my deployment settings, I have to enable connected organizations to be allowed to push metadata changes to my production environments or any other environment in my pipeline. Dev2 has some changes that are ready. Now that this environment is enabled, I can go do my work in that environment and create what's called an outbound change set. I'm now logged into my Dev2 sandbox. I've done some work already, and it's time to create the outbound change set to package up and push my metadata changes into my production environment. I'll click on New. I'll give my new outbound change set a name. And now I can begin to add components in the form of different metadata types to my change set. I have to select each component type one at a time. You can look for individual names of components by their alphabetical entry. But if you use this functionality, anything you select will not be remembered if you navigate to another letter. I repeat that process for each metadata component type that I'm looking to package up and deploy into production. Salesforce requires you to remember not only the types you've modified, but also the individual components, each individual metadata record you've created or modified of that type. If you add a component that has a dependency and push those changes, that package will fail. I'll wrap up this process by just adding a simple Apex trigger from the opportunity. And now my outbound change set is ready for deployment. Click Upload to start the process. Select your target organization, and I'm going to upload this change set. Be sure to be aware of the API version of your sandbox, as it may be ahead of production due to the sandbox preview functionality that Salesforce allows. Once this upload is complete, we'll be able to review this as an inbound change set in the destination environment. Let's see if our change set is ready. My inbound change set is available. You can see the source destination and the name of that change set. We should validate the change set before deploying. Select your preferred test option and click Validate. You can monitor the validation and deployments on the deployment status page in Salesforce Setup. It looks like the validation was successful, and the 6 components that I packaged are ready for deployment. We can refresh this page and actually deploy those changes into this environment. Again, select your preferred test option and click Deploy. When complete, you see the successful icon and the number of components that have been deployed. To verify, let's select one of those items that we included in the change set and see if we can find it in Setup. We can see that newly packaged and deployed opportunity-based trigger here. Salesforce change sets do not allow for any source control driven deployments. They are org to org, and they do not provide a good mechanism to actively view the metadata items that you've changed, created, or deleted in your developing environment, unlike DevOps Center, which gives you a full view of those items.
As you just saw, change sets don't know what has changed in your org recently, and they don't allow you to select components of different metadata types at the same time. What's more, you can't see the differences between a component in your development org and the same component in the target environment. Let's take a quick look at how they work.
Thanks, Ben. Before you get started, make sure you've accepted the email invitation from your project lead to collaborate and log into GitHub. You can also log into GitHub repo and accept the invite there. To get started, you will select a work item, connect that work item to a developing environment, make your changes, view those changes, and commit them to GitHub. Let's begin by opening an existing work item that is part of the Big Changes project. First, you're going to go to the projects page and select the project you're going to be working on. This takes you to the work items page for this specific project. Click on the work item ID to the left of the work item subject to select it. Because you're already logged into the GitHub repo, DevOps Center opens the work item. Connect to the development environment you're going to be using specific to this work item. It can be a Dev Pro sandbox, a Dev sandbox, a Scratch org, so long as its source tracking is enabled. You can check that you are connecting to the right org by going to the settings in DevOps Center to see the URL and nickname of each org. Here at the top of the screen, you can see a progress bar with the various stages of development. Right now, you're in the new stage because you haven't made any changes yet. If you ever want to see the description of the work item, you can go to the Details tab to see the full description. Back on the Changes tab, we can go ahead and connect this work item to a developing environment. You'll notice the work item moves in the progress stage. Also, during the selection of a developing environment, the branch is automatically created in the repo. If you look here, you can see the name of your selected development environment. To log in, simply click on the name, and DevOps Center will open a new tab with you automatically logged in to this environment. Now that we're logged into our change environment, we can start making those changes that are outlined on the details of our work item. Let's move on to the next step, how to view changes made in a development environment. A great feature of DevOps Center is that every metadata change is tracked automatically. This feature keeps track of the component files you've changed, added, or deleted. After you've made and tested the changes in your org, you can review them in the Changes tab. You can also see how many changes have been made but not yet pulled into the work item change list. A lot are already showing, but even more have yet to be pulled in. Let's take a quick look at how to pull in the remaining changes so you can select a more complete package of metadata to commit to the repo. To review the missing changes, click Pull Changes from the bottom of the list. After the page refreshes, the list is now updated with all of the changes. DevOps Center lists out what is new, what has changed, what is deleted, and also provides details about who made the change and when. There may also be a link to some ignored files, which are files you added to the project's force ignore file, so they won't be retrieved or deployed with DevOps Center. Click on the link to see these files. Then you just select the checkboxes next to the changes you want to commit. Any files you don't select now are still available within the developing org. This means you can always retrieve completed work from this org in the future by using another work item connected to this org. In general, best practice tells us that we should try and keep the number of work items related to a given developing org as close to 1 as possible. When you're happy with the contents of your metadata package, a selection of one or more metadata changes, you can commit those changes to GitHub. As soon as you commit changes, they're stored in the project repository branch that was automatically created for this work item. We'll start with the Changes tab, where you verify you've selected all the changes you want to commit. You want to add a comment to specify what's so unique about these changes. This makes it easier to identify a commit later on when compared to only having a timestamp to compare it to. Click on Commit Changes. Your changes are now being committed to the repo. At this point, DevOps Center also resets the source tracking for these components in your development environment so they don't keep showing up when you pull changes. If you like, you can click the source control branch URL to see the branch in GitHub. You'll see the code page for the branch, and you can examine the changes you just committed in GitHub. If you want to see the committed changes for a work item, you can see them in the work item's activity history. With the changes selected and committed to the repo, it's time for your team members to review them. From the Changes view on your work item, click Create Review. This moves the work item to the In Review stage, and DevOps Center automatically opens a pull request in GitHub for the changes in your work item branch. If you need to see the pull request, click the View Change Request button. The pull request is where your team members can add comments and discuss changes you committed to the branch. Now go back to DevOps Center and indicate the work item is ready to promote by clicking the toggle. You can't promote work items through your release pipeline until they're in the Ready to Promote status. Now it's time to promote the changes through the pipeline. Other than developing environments, every pipeline stage corresponds to a single environment and a single branch in the repo. Depending on how the pipeline is configured, changes are moved through the pipeline when individual work items or a work item bundle, which I'll explain shortly, are promoted. When you promote changes, they're merged from the current stage branch to the next stage branch, and then they are deployed to the next stage environment. Your release manager has set up a pipeline in one of two ways. 1, you can move work items individually through the entire pipeline. 2, you can move work items individually in the early stages of the pipeline. Then you group them together in a bundling stage. After that, you promote the bundle as a package through the rest of the stages. In your pipeline, you can tell that the stage allows you to promote work items individually because it has the Promote Selected button at the top. If a stage lets you promote work item bundles, it has the Promote Work Item bundle at the top instead. Before you promote work items, you can choose whether to deploy all the metadata in the target stages branch or only the items that are changed. If you choose all metadata in the stages branch, you promote all the metadata that's in the current stages branch to the next stages branch. If you choose changes not in the stages branch, you promote only the metadata that's changed to the next stage. Okay, so let's actually start promoting some changes. Let's start with the individual work items. First, let's click Pipeline. Go to the approved work items and select the work items you want to promote. Click Promote Selected. If you haven't logged into the Stages environment before, click Connect and repeat steps 2 and 3. Now you can select your promotion choice and which Apex test to run. Click Promote. The work items you selected are merged and deployed to the next stage's branch and next environment. You can see DevOps Center working in the background to merge the branches and deploy your changes. The deployment is now complete. DevOps Center deletes the work item branch in GitHub to assist you with branch management. Your release manager might have specified a bundling stage somewhere in the pipeline. If this is the case, you won't be able to select individual work items for promotion in this stage. Instead, you have to promote those items as a bundle. Let's go to the bundling stage of the pipeline and click on Promote as Work Item Bundle. As before, if you haven't connected to the stage, you're going to click Connect and log onto the environment, and then repeat clicking on Promote as Work Item Bundle again. Enter a unique version identifier in the Promotion Options dialog. It should be an alphanumeric value. Select any Apex test you want to run. Finally, click Promote. This creates the work item bundle with the version you specified. The work item bundle is merged and deployed to the next stage's environment. Again, we see DevOps Center working in the background to merge the branches and deploy the metadata to the next environment in the pipeline. DevOps Center is finishing the final push, and the promotion is successful to the staging environment of my pipeline. So now you've promoted those work items as a work item bundle to the next stage. The next question to answer is, how do you promote the work item bundle itself? Begin by making sure you're in a versioned stage in the pipeline and click Promote Work Item Bundle. If you haven't already connected to this stage before, click Connect to log onto the environment and click on Promote Work Item Bundle again. Select the promotion option that fits your needs, as well as the Apex test you want to run. Click Promote. Now, each work item bundle is merged and deployed to the next stage's environment. You can only see the latest work item bundle right now, but all earlier work item bundles are also present in the stage. After DevOps Center finishes with a promotion, you can see its status. You'll see a success banner or failure banner with more information. There are several ways you can validate the promotion or dig into errors. First, let's do this from the Pipeline Stage drop-down menu. Go to the Pipeline Stage drop-down menu. Selecting Open Environment opens that environment in a new tab or window so you can validate the changes directly. Selecting View Branch in Source Control opens the branch in the repo so you can view the files in this branch following the supplied folder structure. Select View Last Commit in Source Control to open the list of commits in the repo so you can see the granular details of what has changed in the branch, including information about who, what, and when these items were modified. You can also get more details by referring to the work item. There's a work item that's still open in my pipeline. From the pipeline view, I click on the drop-down menu and I can view the change request. This opens the pull request in Source Control so you can view the changes and troubleshoot any potential merge conflicts. Clicking on the work item directly takes us to the work item details. You can also view the change request from here. To see more information related specifically to this work item, click on the Activity History tab. The activity history will show you any successes and errors from the past, as well as the files that were committed to the branch. Activity history is also available for the pipeline. You can see all past activity related to this pipeline for work items and work item bundles. Errors are highlighted in red, and any successful items are in black. Based upon the activity history, it looks like it took a few tries to get the promotion to succeed. We can dig into those details and figure out why it failed. You can see here there was an error in my promotion, and the details are available to me in the Error Details link. If the deployment error doesn't provide enough information, you can check in the deployment status in the environment to see more details. Start by clicking Open Environment in the Stage drop-down menu. Navigate to Setup in this environment, and use the Quick Find to search for deployment status. From the list of succeeded or failed deployments, click View Details. It is best practice to review an item or two that you know was included in the deployment live within this environment. You can see here that the page layout that I pushed as part of this deployment succeeded based upon the last modified by details.
And that concludes our 3-part series in collaboration with Prodly. Jay, thank you so much for that fantastic overview about how to deploy changes using the Salesforce DevOps Center. I really hope this has provided the foundational knowledge for you to go out there and use Salesforce DevOps Center in your own org. So thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.